so I've got a section pulled out here of the Swisstrax, my traditional Ribtrax that I've been using for several years now. I guess it's been about 4 years, 3.5 years. The reason why I like this stuff, I mean, if you look at, I'll get a little closer view here, but there's lots of dirt underneath the floor here. And one of the common concerns of any discerning garage guy is that, well, what do you do about all the dirt? I mean, what are you going to do about all that? And I said, well, I leave it under there, and then I'll just vacuum it once a year or something like that, so my floor always looks clean. And so I think part of the reason for that, the reason why it does so well, is because these are the Ribtrax tiles. They have a curved connection, right? So it's curved, so dirt hits it. It generally doesn't sit on top. It falls in between the tile. It's 3/4 of an inch thick, and so all the junk goes down underneath it. So we don't have to worry about that. So the problem with these is these are, in getting my special Obsessed Garage pricing, each tile, now it's 15 3/4 by 15 3/4. Each tile is $6.80, and then if you get the rubber ones, they're even more. And so you're talking about, just shy of $4 a square foot. I mean, retail's $5, $4.95. I sell it for $3.95 a square foot. Shipping is quite expensive to get it to you, and so when you add this all up, $3.95 a square foot shipped to you, I mean, you're $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 depending on how big your garage is, right? And so they've come out with some other options, and I don't have the exact pricing on these yet, but they're considerably less expensive. And they're called Ribtrax Smooth. And so you'll notice, and I'll get a little closer view here, but you'll notice that the tiles are flat, right? So they still have the grooves, so they still have the little cracks where things can fall underneath. My suspicion is that if we compare the two, my guess is that these will stay looking cleaner. But these are also, I think, a viable option. And the reason why I think having the cracks is important, one, it takes away a little bit of the plastic feel. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick the new Ribtrax Smooth on the floor and see if it feels any different. Now, because of the way that the Ribtrax stick up, these are 3/4 of an inch, where the Ribtrax Smooth aren't quite as deep. All right, so the dimension, the height of them is slightly different. It's almost like they just took it's as if they took the smooth or the rounded Ribtrax and just cut the roundness off and then made it flat, right? So we have the two differences, between the two tiles here. So you have the Ribtrax Smooth, which comes in a few colors, and then you have Ribtrax Eco, which is even less expensive. It's a little bit cheaper. Again, I'll have pricing on this. I'll put it in the description of the video. It's just I don't have it here with me, but I want to stick the Eco and the Smooth here, and we're talking about $1 plus less per square foot. So now we have pricing that is a bit more reasonable, and maybe even may even make sense in certain garages to not have the rounded Ribtrax if you're doing a lot of jack stands and things like that. So there might be some advantages to this. This mainly was just to make a little preliminary video, just to kind of see how these fit and what they felt like to stand on. So let's do our black ones here, and then we'll put the gray Eco next to it. And the Eco is less expensive for a couple of reasons. Again, I'm not an expert on these yet. These are brand new, so not a lot of information, or at least I don't have a lot of information memorized yet. But the cost of the Eco, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it only comes in a few colors, maybe. But the gray seems to work for me. So gray and black has always been my go-to anyway. All of the snap-in systems are the same. And this is one of the things that is better about Swisstrax and some of the other plastic floor tile competitors. Their locking system, I think, is much better. It's easier to lock in place. It's a better system. But I wanted to put some of these tiles in place, just kind of see how they look and feel. I cannot explain to you. I mean, look how dirty my hands are. How dirty the floor is, just because I've been doing all this construction here. I'm gonna vacuum it and probably end up mopping it or spraying it down here soon when I get all the construction done. But the floors look so clean, even though if you ran your hand across it, it's really dirty. All right, let's snap. So they all snap together nicely. Wow, that's interesting. Again, I'll get you a close up here, but there's a slight depth difference. But I think some people are going to prefer the flat look. I think the rounded will be less reflective, but this has less of a like trippy look to it as you look down the floor. Feels very solid. So there's your regular Ribtrax. There's the Swisstrax. So here's another thing I noticed was that when you're rolling, like rolling your stool from one to the other, I mean, it rolls easily it rolls on both, but it rolls easier on the smooth tiles. So I think I really like these, for the cost difference. For those of you who are trying to, I guess we're all trying to keep costs under control, but these are really nice. I think these are going to look cleaner over time versus the smooth. The smooth dirt's going to tend to sit on it a little bit more. But man, it's really stout. If anything, maybe even more stout feeling than the Ribtrax. And again, these are the eco tiles, the less expensive, and then these are the regular. I don't really notice the difference at all. So anyway, I wanted to give you an update on what these were about, and then you can make a determination for yourself. I'll have them up in the store. I think the main thing I wanted to see was, is it worth selling? Are these something that I want to represent? And I think they're really good. So, and they look good too. So anyway, thanks for watching. Another cool product. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.